this video we're going to go through the banking setup. The first thing that we're going to do is amend the bank. So if I go into Find Bank, I will see that there's already a bank set up for me. So when we create a new company, we always have at least one bank set up, and then you can just go and amend the detail on this bank. So the bank name is going to be HSBC, branch is going to be Manchester. I'm just going to fill in the address details, etc. We can also put a sort code in this screen as well if we have the sort code. I'm just going to put one in anyway. Okay, so there's our bank. If I just refresh the screen, we'll now see that it's HSBC in Manchester. What we've then got beneath the bank, or within a bank, we then can have multiple bank accounts. Now, as standard in Enterprise, when we set up a new company, we'll again get two bank accounts. You may only use one of these accounts, but there's two there in case you want to use them. Although the setup is GBP, we can amend the currency code on the bank before we actually post any transactions to it. Once we post transactions, it'll lock the currency to whichever it is. Okay, so what we want to do now is go into bank account 1. So I can either double click it from within the bank, or alternatively I can go into Find Bank Account on here, and that'll show both bank accounts, and it also shows which bank they belong to. So I'm going to go and amend bank account number 1, and we want that to be a HSBC current account. Okay, so current account type. The account type doesn't really matter anyway, it's just for your reference. Account code is the nominal code. There's already a bank nominal assigned to that one, and then the account number, which is obviously the bank account number. Okay, we've also got the option to put overdraft limits and things like that in there, so there's just optional fields there. And down the bottom, if there's any transactions against the bank, that's where they'd show. Okay, so that's bank account 1 that I've amended. What I'm now going to do is amend bank account 2 to be a euro account. So this one's going to be HSBC euro current account. Okay, I'll change that to current account again. Again, it's got a bank nominal in, and I'm going to put the account number in. And this time we are going to change the currency to euros. Okay, so I'm going to save and close out of that. That's then once amended. Okay, now in a few seconds we're going to create a new bank account, but before we can do that we actually need to create a new bank nominal to actually assign to that bank account. So what I'm going to do is, if I just firstly start to create the bank account, I'm sort of doing this out of step so I can show you. I select which bank I want to create that for, and a new bank account is going to be HSBC US dollar current account, and this is the part where it needs the account code. So if I click the down arrow there, it only shows nominal codes that are marked as being bank nominals that aren't already assigned to other accounts. So at the moment we've only got an undeposited receipts nominal, which isn't the one I want. So what I'm now going to do is go back to the previous step in the manual and go and create that nominal code. I'm going to leave that screen open anyway, and I'm going to go into the accounting module, and I'm going to go new account code, and we'll cover creating different account codes when we get to the accounting setup, but for this I'm just going to create a user-defined account, so I'm just going to key the account code in, and it's going to be a simple account structure. And in here we're going to create a nominal code called numbered 1208, and the description of that is going to be bank account USD. Okay, now hopefully it's going to be an asset, it's going to be a current asset, and it's going to be cash at bank. And this is the important flag to tick if we intend to use it as a bank nominal. Need to tick that there. Okay, so we'll go next. This just shows us the accounts it's going to create, shows us they're not duplicates, and now finish. That should now have created our bank nominal. So now if I go back to my bank, I should now have that to select. So there we go, we've got the bank account USD now. So I'm going to put the account number in again. And I'm going to set the currency to be US dollars. Okay, and that's that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is key in some opening balances for our bank. So, not in accounting, in banking, go into setup, and then opening balances. If I double click the opening balances, it opens a similar screen to the ones I'm sure you've already seen in the other modules. So this is where we key in our bank account code. Bank account 1 is going to be used for the first one. It's going to be a receipt. Reference 1 is going to be OB. Reference 2 is going to be OB. And the date is going to be the 30th of the 11th, 2007. And the amount is going to be £2,000. Okay, now what I can do if I want to is use the F6 key again to copy that down to the next record, even though I'm obviously going to have to change some things on here. So this one is going to be a payment. Reference is going to be 1001. First to the 12th this time. And £100. Okay, I'll copy that one down again. So payment, this time 1002. Seventh of the 12th. It's going to be £200. Next one's going to be for bank account number 2. Receipt. OB. 30th of the 11th this time. The amount is for €1,000. I'll copy that down again. This time it's going to be a payment. th of the 12th. It's going to be €500. And the last two are going to be for bank account number 4. Now you notice the bank account number 3 is there. We haven't really looked at that, but that's just a petty cash account. Still keeps it in the with a normal bank account code in Enterprise, but that's just petty cash. So the one we created is number 4. 30th the 11th. It's going to be for 1,000. Fourteenth of December. That's for 800. There we go. Once I'm happy with that, I'll check to see if they look correct. Click the save button again. And that should post them all to the bank account. If I look in the history, I can see the ones I've done. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is create an e-banking CSV layout for bank account number 1. So if I double click the e-banking option and then choose the bank account that I'm going to do my e-banking layout for, which is bank account number 1. So firstly, I have to put my path in, which I'm just going to have my C drive, I think. And I've already got a bank.txt, so I'll save over the top of that one. Ask me if I want to replace it, say yes. And then the sort order, but the sort order comes from these fields here. So basically we're going to have on there amount, currency, sort code, bank account number, bank payment ref, and we can basically sort this the way we want. So if amount needs to be at the top, we can use these arrows here to move it up to the top. Currency is going to be next, sort code is going to be next, and then that looks correct. So when I'm happy with that, you can see how it's filled out the sort order in here. When I'm happy with that, I can just save and close that. What that file is for is if we're paying suppliers via BACS or whatever, then when we do the payment run for suppliers, we can have it generate a file, and it'll basically put the columns on in that order that we've just predefined in there. Okay, the last thing we're going to do in the banking setup is run a bank reconciliation. So under Tools, we've got Bank Reconciliation. Okay, now again, it says bank reconciliation up there, and it's asking me to choose which bank account I want to run the reconciliation for. So I'm going to run the reconciliation for bank account 1. Okay, now I need to set my date on here. I'm going to do this rec as of 31st of the 12th, 07, and I need to put the statement balance in. Now basically the statement balance on this one's going to be £2,000. And you can see as soon as I put the statement balance in, I get a difference down the bottom of £2,000, which is the difference between my last reconcile balance and my statement balance. Now as I tick transactions in here, that balance will go down, and only if the difference is 0 will I be able to actually reconcile this bank. So the transaction that we're going to click is the OBR 5 zeros and a 1 transaction here for £2,000. So if I click that, you'll see that now the difference is 0, because obviously 0 plus the 2,000 equals 2,000. So it's happy with them figures. So now if I click reconcile, that will have now reconciled the bank. And if I go into the history tab, we can see the reconciliation that we did and what date we did it at. So if I double click that, I can open it back up, and then I can see what exactly I reconciled. That concludes the banking setup video. The next video will go through accounting setup.